Wasim Abukwek used to work in a restaurant in Gaza. But after Israel imposed a blockade in 2007, there was no business and he lost his job. He has 5 children to feed, and he tries to do that by selling coffee for 30 cents each. But it's not even enough to pay his rent.
The strict Israeli siege on Gaza has been stepped up greatly in recent years. So there are no crossings, not even the crossing to Egypt. There is no entry or exit. There is no work. There are no sources of income. How will we live and live for our children?
Many Palestinians are worse off than Wasim. They have no jobs at all. Gaza's unemployment rate is almost 40%. It's one of the highest in the world. The economic situation there in the occupied West Bank has dramatically deteriorated since 2000. That's when the second Intifada, an uprising against the Israeli occupation of Palestine, began. Since then, Israel has restricted Palestinian movement and trade by installing checkpoints, imposing the Gaza blockade and building a 700-kilometer-long separation wall in the West Bank. The effects on Palestine's economy has been devastating. A UN report found that the costs of the Israeli measures in the West Bank alone total $58 billion. That's 3.5 times greater than the West Bank's gross national product. More than a third of Palestinians in the occupied West Bank live in poverty. But the UN report says that without the Israeli restrictions and military operations, the poverty rate would be slashed to 12%. Per capita GDP would also be 44% higher than the $5,000 Palestinians see now. Economist Raja Khalidi says the only solution to the crippling economic condition is independence for Palestine.
So, in order to remain in Palestine, we have to at least be resilient, and in order to be resilient, we have to also reduce our dependency on Israel. So, in order to reduce our dependency on Israel, we need to produce more of our own goods, and so on and so forth. But ultimately, this economy is hostage to the Israeli economy.
Palestinians like Wasim want better jobs and a better future for their families. To achieve that, the UN has called on Israel to lift all restrictions on Palestinian movement, but that appeal has fallen on deaf ears. Mustafa Fatih, Theatre World, Bethlehem, occupied West Bank.